Oh, there's a beautiful Pluto. Hank. The elephant is really nice. This is great, this plastic stuff. Oh, look at this, a big tiger. Ah, here's a good one. This is just the head, I love heads. Look at this here, a carrot. A paprika. Oh, here's a whole, this is a whole sandwich. And this one is, these are my favorite. Dude, I love these. Oh my God, these little ones.
Plastic ones, look at the baby.
So the 20,000 toys I've been collecting the past 3 days and sorting through, they're all being brought to The Hague, to the photo museum there, and it's part of an exhibition called Life in Cities. It's a retrospective of my life's work. The Toy Story is just one part of it, but it's a very important part. It's very, very close to my heart.
Oh, here's another one. Oh, it's beautiful. In there.
My personal backstory of why I became so interested in toys made in China is that as a child I was never allowed to play with plastic toys, and my father always made me beautiful wooden toys to play with. But of course I always wanted something which I didn't have. Fast forward now to 2003, I went down to a second-hand store and I discovered a huge bag of plastic toys. And it was like, wow, I'm an adult now, no father to control me, I can buy them. So I paid, I think, $10 for a big bag. This was a long time ago, and I brought them home. Then suddenly I had the idea, tomorrow my son is coming back, I'm going to create a surprise for him. So I emptied out these 600 toys in the living room, and I proceeded to place them on all the furniture, all the seats, the sofa, the table, everywhere I put a plastic toy. And then when my son came back, I led him up to the door. I put a blindfold over his eyes, put him in the middle of the living room, and then I said, Jasper, take off the blindfold. And he took off the blindfold and he just went, wow.
De Real Toy Story van Michael Wolff gaat over massaconsumptie en over de westerse honger naar die oneindige toevoer van speelgoedjes.
De hele wereld, als je er naar op zoek bent, is vergeven van de made in China speelgoedjes. Dat onderwerp laat Michael Wolff letterlijk zien door een installatie in te richten van die duizenden speelgoedjes die met magneetjes aan een metalen wand hangen en als een soort lijst fungeren rond de foto's die hij dus ooit in 2004 voor die Stern-reportage heeft gemaakt. Het is nog steeds actueel, want deze week werd bekend dat China ophoudt met het recyclen van plastic wat uit het Westen komt. En dat plastic uit het Westen komt vaak dan ook weer uit China en ze willen het dus niet terug hebben.
Oh, I've put up the Toy Story now a total of 6 times, and it's an installation which is very, very difficult to do alone. I mean, the job of gluing the magnets, of putting them up, I could do it alone, but it would take me 2 or 3 weeks. So every time I put it up, I had a team of people helping me, and I always loved this cooperation. In the beginning, people found it a bit tedious, but then very quickly it became quite enjoyable, especially putting up the toys, because you're very free what you can combine. I mean, you can combine Barbie and Ken, or if you look at this installation here, you have Donald Trump and some saucy pirate girl. So you have many options, and it's a lot of fun to put the thing up. And most of the time, I would say 100% of the time, within a day, everyone who participated in this whole installation had fun and enjoyed it. And for me, I really enjoy the process as well. It's tedious after 6 times, you know, to take everything down, put it up again. But every time, of course, it's different because the panels aren't fixed. So this will be a totally different looking situation than the one in Arles, and Arles was very different looking than the previous one. So every time you have nuances and the photographs are placed differently. So it becomes a unique piece every time you put it up. So I really enjoy it, and I found that everyone involved very quickly got into the feeling of it and realized the potential for their own creativity when putting it up.
Wat hij doet is grote thema's pakken, zoals dus massaconsumptie. En dat soort van tastbaar maken door het menselijke verhaal te vertellen. Dus door in te zoomen op die ene fabrieksarbeider, maakt hij het soort van grijpbaar voor ons.
This one here, for instance, is a very, very important picture. I was interested in industrial accidents because obviously the factories in China, the safety conditions don't have the standard that you have in Europe. Often during peak times when all the Christmas gifts are prepared, you have people working night and day in off rooms, on rickety chairs, on tables which wiggle, or on assembly lines which aren't properly secured. So there are quite a few industrial accidents, but it's a very touchy subject, again, politically. I just found it an incredible act of courage of them to let themselves be photographed like that. And it's an important part of the installation, of course, because in a way I'm also criticizing the working conditions. If we look at this picture here, taken during one of the breaks, and I would always stay in the factory when everyone else went to go eat. I would stay in the factory and walk around, and you would see dozens of scenes like this where the girls just crawled under the table, or they'd crawl under a chair, or they'd cover themselves with newspaper just to get a 10-minute nap. But this isn't really the way a break should be held. You should either have a separate room for it. And obviously they're overworked. These were not 8-hour shifts, these were 12-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, because they just had a lot to get done. So the photographs are a very, very important part of the installation. If I just had a wall with 20,000 toys, for me it would be very colorful but almost meaningless. It's only the combination of the portraits, of the journalistic pictures and the toys where the meaning becomes much more political and much more critical of industrial production in mainland China.
Michael Wolff is een van de zeldzame voorbeelden in de fotogeschiedenis van een fotojournalist die decennia als zodanig heeft gewerkt en die op een gegeven moment heeft besloten om fotokunstenaar te worden. Heel veel fotojournalisten die dat zouden willen, die lukt dat niet. Maar het is Michael gelukt. En ik denk dat het mede komt omdat Michael altijd al een kunstenaar is geweest, terwijl hij een fotojournalist was. Hij heeft altijd op een hele eigen manier naar de wereld gekeken, de zaken in beeld gebracht. En hij heeft zich ook altijd moeten conformeren aan beeldredacteuren en aan art directors. Dat schijnt voor fotografen een nachtmerrie te zijn af en toe, want foto's worden weggelaten, foto's worden aangesneden. En toen het sowieso al niet zo goed ging met de fotojournalistiek vanwege de digitale revolutie in de jaren 90... en er minder werk was voor Michael Wolff als fotojournalist, nam hij het wijze besluit om voor zichzelf te beginnen en voortaan autonoom werk te maken. Een beslissing waar wij enorm van profiteren gezien de kwaliteit van deze tentoonstelling.